hope that we'll have a discussion that will help to convert politics from an arena of conmen to a pulpit of change.
Thank you so much. Okay, we do not only have PDG Masu as our guest tonight, we have two other guests who are going to join us on this conversation tonight. That is Mr. Eric Naibe, who is an advocate of the High Court. We also have Mr. Nelson Ngeno, who is the secretary, my leader of Kenya. Of course, they'll be joining us much later in the conversation. But of course, right now we have Mr. PDG Masu. Join us in the conversation. Actually, we are going to talk much. We are also going to look at the factor of Uhuru Kenyatta. How much can he stretch in his support towards Raila Amolo Odinga? Now, this is the power of the incumbency, which is quite different from what we have experienced in other electoral years and times. So, Mr. PDG Masu, actually, I want us to start this conversation, but first of all, this week we had Mr. Kibo, the chairman of
the men's conference.
Of the men's conference.
Yes, yes. It's indeed a sad week for all men in the country, and by extension, even outside the country. Even those who didn't know him now, it's a nice opportunity to know him and just know that the legacy that he left for us, because he was a tree that was planted in the past generation and was able to provide his shade into this generation, giving direction to men from all walks of life. He beat all odds despite not getting a formal education. He was able to hustle his way up. So he is the real hustler. Mr. Kibor was the real hustler. So he hustled his way up. He made his wealth, his billions of shillings through clean business and was able to cement a legacy that will not be challenged for a long time in this country. So rest in peace, Mzee Kibor.
Thank you so much, Mr. PDG Masu, for that. Well, we're talking about matters politics.
Yes.
Kalonzo Musyoka has joined Azimio la Umoja. Well, we have Ruto being declared the flag bearer of UDA, where they had the NDC early this week. Now, actually, having Mudavadi sold his birthright, if I can say so, to William Ruto. And now he's asking for a deputy, as a deputy captain, I mean, as a running position. It is quite so defined that we have a two-horse race. It is between Raila
and Ruto.
What do you make of this now?
Well, let's start with the Kalonzo factor. Well, Kalonzo is a perennial fence sitter. That's why we call him the watermelon. Very green and leafy on the outside, but very red and watery on the inside. So he's a watermelon. What you see on the outside is what you get on the inside. Even on that day when he went to meet the NASA the Azimio principals to sign an agreement to join them. He kept them waiting for almost 8 hours and turned up very late. And even after signing it, you saw him talk later that he was not aware of the contents of what he signed. And you heard from him yesterday again claiming that he needs a majority so that he can impeach Raila Odinga in case Raila changes his mind once he is in power. So Kalonzo, well, I'm not a big fan of the fact that he might be having a lot of sway in Eastern, because through gerrymandering, there has been division of votes inside the Eastern arena. Alfred Mutua in Machakos, Ngilu in Kitui, Kivuta Kibwana in the other area, Makweli, and Taita Taveta is also on its own. So traditionally the Kamba votes were in one basket solidly. But recently, with the devolution, governors have power. Governors have money in their hands. They can marshal votes which traditional kingpins used to carry. So Kalonzo, he is coming on board, but not with the same strength that he used to have. That's why you had most guys in Azimio telling him, make up your mind very quickly or ship out. There are other options. You can go to William Ruto. So let us move on from that. Musalia Mudavadi, he wants to be the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. But our question is, do you have the political pedigree? I'm not talking about the leadership pedigree. That we will question on a later date.
Okay.
Do you have a political pedigree that can be rated to be of the caliber of a deputy president?
Okay.
He was handpicked from university and made an assistant minister after the death of his father. So he feels that leadership to him is a birthright. But the effect of that handpicking by Moi has been very bad on him by the fact that he does not recognize what it takes actually to be a political leader in this environment that we are in, which is Kenya.
Okay.
So he has not sat himself down and worked very hard to solidify a support base. He is trying to bargain with William Ruto, but everyone knows as broad as daylight that the current kingpin of Western Kenya or the Baluya votes is Raila Odinga, and he has been for a long time. That even if Musalia Mudavadi is going to resign from Ruto and vie on his own against Raila, try to challenge him, Raila will beat him in his backyard.
Okay.
So he has not solidified a support base that can enable him to sit on the table and bargain for a deputy presidency position. So, I mean, if I feel sorry for him, but please, Mudavadi, give us a chance.
We are now talking about a two-horse race here.
Yes.
But what is it, of course, the fact of Kalonzo and Mudavadi is coming in here. But what is it that actually could maybe have made Kalonzo to join Azimio after quite a tussle, because we had seen him coming on the defensive, sometimes saying that he didn't want to join, talking about failed promises and issues like
yes.
that.
Forgive my example in this case.
Yes.
Even that lady, or let me just use the term prostitute, standing on the streets in Koinange or CBD, there is a man who is trying to seduce her, and she's playing very hard to get. And that man is not getting sleep, saying, oh, you know, this woman, you know, she applies very expensive oil, and she's beyond my league. What can I do to get this woman? But only if this man knew that as you struggle to fight over this lady, she is not the pedigree that you think she is.
Okay.
So this is the same case with Kalonzo. So he has been trying to you know, show that is expensive, but the reality is very different. And we all knew that he was going to end up at Azimio. Why? One, he is a coward.
Okay.
He was not going to go to a place where he has a war to fight, where he has to go on campaign trails every day to look for votes. He wants to go to a place where he can ride on the back of Raila Odinga, who has been campaigning over the last 1 year very, very, very solidly. So he has been tussling, yes, but we all knew. I mean, Mr. Kalonzo, thank you for the surprise. You really surprised us going into Azimio, but we all knew.
Okay, thank you. Let me ask you this question, actually.
Yes.
Raila of Azimio is being supported by President Uhuru Kenyatta. Now the question is just how much can the president stretch in his candidate? It's a pair of hands. How far, I mean, how far can he go?
Are you talking constitutionally, or are you talking just as a politician? I mean, are you asking if the president has the freedom to support the person of his choice, or if...
Okay. Well, there are a lot of issues here to look at. First of all, in mind, actually, we know that in Kenya we have had allegations of rigging, and actually we are going to talk about that.
Yes.
Now, do you think that president can go to an extent, or just let me put words in your mouth?
Yes.
But you actually understand my question.
Yes.
To what extent can the president go in supporting his candidate?
Kenya is a democracy.
Okay.
All the efforts of the president so far are very transparent. Uhuru Kenyatta is trying to bring together his traditional support base and ensure that Raila Odinga can benefit from it in terms of votes. So while we say he comes from central Kenya, all he has been doing, you can remember Sagana 1, Sagana 2, Sagana 3. And you heard people asking, Mr. President, why do you even speak in your mother tongue, yet you're a national leader? He is trying to rally his traditional support base to vote for Raila Odinga.
Okay.
Why? Because this is a democracy, and that is as far as the president can go. And I believe that is as far as he will go. But I will also tell you this. Uhuru Kenyatta and supporting Raila Odinga, that is a done deal.
Okay.
The question was whether he was going to do it, but let me tell you, we are a solid system. Kenya is a stable country where people believe in their government. There are working systems. In such systems, the incumbency has power. Okay. That is why Raila marshaled a very big campaign vehicle back in 2017, but we went back and forth and even went to court. And finally, the incumbent Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto retained power. So the power of the incumbency cannot be opposed. If Uhuru is supporting Raila, our fifth president is Raila Amolo Odinga.
Okay, actually, the topic that we are handling needs maybe someone, I'd need maybe someone to revert on this. Maybe if we get maybe Eric on the show. But I just want us maybe to shift a bit, but we are coming back to this same topic to discuss it further. Now, let me ask you a question about, actually it is 1 year since our neighbors in Tanzania, they lost their president.
Yes.
And actually we have now Samia Suluhu Hassan as the president, now 1 year. You look at the presidency of the leadership of this lady. How would you compare her to her predecessors?
Well, it was a shocker to everyone that President John Pombe Magufuli, who had embraced completely the tag of a benevolent dictator, passed on. It was very sad indeed. I was one of his greatest supporters, and I believe that he stood out as an example for African leaders to realize that you can actually use power authoritatively to change your country for the good. And when he passed on, people threw in a lot of conspiracy theories to try and explain why he died, actually. So Samia Suluhu Hassan takes the stage. I have spoken to people in Tanzania, and there is a big difference, because the personality of a person is very important in leadership. It determines whether they'll be hands-on or hands-off.
Okay.
John Pombe Magufuli was a very hands-on leader. I can't say he was micromanaging things, but he made sure that every sector of the country had that president's touch, that you felt that power was around and there was an eye looking at you.
Okay.
So you have to do the right thing. But that is not the same case with Samia. Let's take, for example, the ports of Tanzania. During Pombe's time, there was very quick clearance. If goods arrived from overseas, it will not take 3 days before they were cleared from the port. There was no backlog, because those backlogs are channels of corruption. Goods that could be cleared, and that's what happens in Kenya here, are held on to until the owner of the goods can pay something soft to the clearance officer, and then they're released. So we have an unnecessary backlog, and there are a lot of containers at the port. But during Magufuli's time, that was not the case. Right now, and that was a complaint, I have a friend who does business there at the port of Tanzania. So he says, we are back to the old days where your container could take months at the port because of some inexplicable reason. So if we can use that as an example, we can show that there's some level of luxury. And of course, Tanzania is not on the same trajectory where John Pombe Magufuli had put it.
So how do you actually assess the Samia Suluhu's first years in office?
Well, as a big fan of John Pombe Magufuli, I would not give her the full accolades and say she's reached up to that. Well, she's done very well in cross-border relations. You remember during Magufuli's time, we had a lot of tension. Kenya had a lot of tension with Tanzania. And there was a lot of diplomatic rows. But with Samia Suluhu Hassan, you saw her come to Kenya, and she instigated bilateral talks again, which has made Tanzania another viable trading partner once again. So for that, I can give her a thumbs up, which was not the case with Magufuli.
Okay.
But for the rest, I think Tanzanians stand a better position to judge her. Yes.
So let me ask you this. In 1 year, actually, we have seen President Hassan reversed her predecessor's policies from COVID-19 control to media freedom and foreign relations. Actually, part of it which you've mentioned.
Yes.
So is Hassan's regime transitional? And to what extent?
Well, if you look at the type of regime she is putting in place in Tanzania there, you get the feeling that there is a bigger hand behind this. Because we assume that the presidency is a unit, and the vice president is working in tandem with his or her president. And that Samia Suluhu Hassan would continue the legacy of Magufuli. But there is a sharp contrast between her regime and Magufuli's regime.
Okay.
And that is what, for us as Pan-Africans, it gives us a lot of questions to ask ourselves. That, are you really genuine? How come Magufuli was completely opposed to the COVID-19 pandemic, which I still maintain was a scam, because with Putin's war, it disappeared in the air suddenly. And you started to force Tanzanians to wear masks and vaccinate. How come Magufuli was against high Western influence into the Tanzanian political process, and you bring it back? How come Magufuli was very categorical on the influence of opposition leaders and the media on how the country was run, insisting to be a benevolent authoritarian who ensured that the smallest person at the lowest level got what they deserved, not what the opposition leaders and other parrots
do. You believe in benevolent dictatorship? I
do. I mean, if we look at most countries, whether it is overt or covert, whether it's open or hidden, it sometimes has to exist because the state is a powerful tool.
Okay.
There's a philosopher who said that the state, to define what do you call it? To define the authority of the country or the authority of the state, we have to give them powers beyond the constitution. Whether we do it publicly or privately. What do we mean? We mean that if you pose a threat to the peace of the country right now, for example, terror threat, Uhuru Kenyatta must have the power to arrest you and detain you and interrogate you outside the media eyes. You can be held incommunicado, so that you be interrogated, so that the people don't have to be told that we have some terrorists here and scare them. You don't have to scare citizens all the time. So the government should have some little bit of authority.
I get your point, sir. Actually, we are going for a short break. We are coming back to much more talking here. Of course, we are discussing much here. It's a two-horse race discussion. We have Kalonzo Musyoka joining Azimio la Umoja. We have Ruto being declared the flag bearer of UDA. And of course, it's quite defined that we have a two-horse race going towards 2022, the succession of President Uhuru. We are asking a lot of questions, so many questions, myriads of issues that are hitting our news headlines this week. We are all going to tackle them here. So stay put as we delve much into politics. Of course, 21144 is our SMS line. And of course, you can also get us at GBS TV Africa at Eugene Ochieng Kwach. We're going for a short break.
Nikicompare sisi na ethic, like time ilikuwa to God's time. Ethic wali get together kwa group wakafanya ngoma ikablow. Sisi tulifanya ngoma like almost 2 albums. 2 albums. Alafu ile ngoma yenye tulifanya tu tukasema acha tufanye tu post ndio ika hit. So pia inakonga to God's timing, but social media pia it's a big part of youth saizi. Like saizi ka huko social media sijui tunaweza patikanaje.
Sasa tunajua most people wana rely on social media. Yeah. Meaning kupromote business zetu, kama mimi kama makeup artist, hakuna mtu ataona kazi yangu kama makeup kama sijapost. Siwezi fanya tu kazi nikae nayo sasa niambiage watu mimi nimeka purchase kujeni wapake makeup. It doesn't work. I need to post. I need to engage my people. Lazima niwaonyeshe ma stories nikifanya makeup. Watu wajuange at least nafanya hiyo kazi.
Like saizi kila mtu kwa room. Sijui kama kuna mtu mwenye budake ama mamake wana status yake. Hakuna.
Never have I ever. Mkorada?
Yeah.
Farted and blamed it on someone else.
Have you ever been to a market at the comfort of your living room? Well, worry no more, because we got you. GBS TV Home Shopping is that market for you at home. Purchase, place your order, and we deliver that item to you. Oh yes, you heard me right, absolutely. All you need to do is watch the show, place your order, and we'll definitely deliver that item to your doorstep. GBS TV Home Shopping is a show that will be coming to you from Mondays to Saturdays at 12:30 p.m., 2:30 p.m., 6:30 p.m., and 10:30 p.m. And of course, I'll be your host, J to the T. You can call me JT. Zia. And this is GBS TV Home Shopping.
Hello, welcome back to the Inside. Of course, this is where we give meaning and life to conversations, where we give intrigues and we make deliberate conversations that, of course, enlighten you on issues and matters politics. Well, we are going one-on-one, of course, on Moses Kuria's controversial video. I want us to take a look at this video, and of course, we are going to discuss it thereafter.
Akili yote iliweka Uhuru kwa kiti iko hapa. Ile iko Azimio ni mwili peke yake.
There is Moses Kuria there saying that akili yote iliweka Uhuru kwenye kiti iko pale. And of course that is part of what he said, but he also says that walimuimbia kura, something like that. Well, gentlemen, some weeks ago, we get to get that Sabina Chego, of course, also made a controversial remark as well on an issue like that one about election rigging. And of course, we've always had such allegations through and through after the 2017 general elections. And this is not even the first time we're having them, even pre-elections. We've had them before. And what's actually quite interesting or remarkable is that it has even come from the deputy president, the second command, man who, of course, comes from the inner sanctums of power itself. What does this mean to the democracy of Kenya, Wakili? Actually, when you look at it generally, is it something to take? Is it something that you can take it lightly? And what does it mean to the democracy?
Thank you, Eugene. I think that question on allegations of rigging of elections is not something that we want to be happy about, especially when it is coming up from politicians at this stage. You remember Sabina Chege made that allegation and she had to be summoned by IEBC. And I think the case is still pending. She is yet to report there. This is not something to joke about, because you can't be seen to be bragging that this time round, for instance, in the case of Sabina Chege, that this time round we are going to ensure that we use the same methods we used to put in Uhuru Kenyatta, which is rigging, and you expect Kenyans to trust the process. My problem with that is that we are discrediting the institutions like IBC. We are discrediting the entire electoral process if we are saying that elections can be rigged, and it should not be coming from politicians at this stage. I think whether it is true or not, what we know is that in 2017 the elections were overturned by the Supreme Court based on irregularities. And what politicians are now telling us is that it was true. We are going to August, and if we are going with that mindset, then we are preparing the losing camp to first of all to refuse to accept defeat, and also we are likely to see people from regions that are likely to have their candidate lose incited on the basis that their candidate has been rigged, even if that will not be the case. So I don't think this is something good from our politicians. We should condemn it. That is my position.
Well, I'd love to put in something there. Raila Odinga used to claim that there is electoral rigging in this country, and he has been brushed aside severally. He was forced to go to court several times. In 2013, you remember that. In 2017, you also remember he went to court, and the court nullified the election based on some irregularities in the transmission of results. So if you look back, first of all, these claims come from the people who were at the center of that campaign and won it. So it is true now. The chicken have come home to roost. It is true that we have a problem of electoral interference in our country. You saw Deputy President Ruto airing that opinion in public when he went to America and made such claims that our process is not as transparent as they would love it to be. Well, we criticize the hypocrisy in it, because it's in the same person who claimed that at no point in Kenya have elections ever been stolen in this country. So I don't want to say that politicians shouldn't be saying these things. They must say these things. Because when they say these things, this now will spark a debate into the conscience of each and every Kenyan. I have been a supporter of Raila Odinga over the past 2 elections. And when you talk about electoral malpractice, I know, and I've always had the feeling that Raila Odinga has been denied unfairly his ascent to power. So if this other divide has not been entertaining these talks, it is now time to sit on the table and smell the coffee and know it is morning. Here we are. This thing is here with us. The elephant is in the room. Chop its leg off, shoot it with an arrow, do something about it. It is in the room. Let us discuss it.
Okay, it's quite interesting that you guys both believe that we are looking forward to a contested election, whatever the case.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think it's a contest.
Eric, you believe so?
I think it is going to be contested.
It is going to be contested.
Somebody has to go to the Supreme Court to challenge it, and if we are not careful, we are likely to see a 2017 scenario where we will have long protests and maybe like a 1-month season of push and pull.
Maybe even more.
Yes, or even more.
And of course, on the same note, we have former Chief Justice, that is Willie Mutunga, predicting another handshake that will lead to a grand coalition government. The same that we had, similar akin to the 2007-2008 handshake. What do you make of this? Do you think that maybe this is inevitable?
No, not really. Well, like I told you, with Uhuru Kenyatta being at the thick of things, the power of the incumbency in a stable state like Kenya is so impactful. And Raila Odinga is a worthy competitor. Leave even alone Uhuru's, let us assume Uhuru wasn't supporting him. My friend Raila Odinga is a worthy competitor. He is a strong mobilizer of votes. And even if Uhuru was not backing him, he was still going to give Ruto a run for his money. And right now he has the backing of the state. You've seen a swing in his popularity from around 29% to 43%, almost in a fortnight.
Okay.
That shows you the tenacity of that man in mobilizing votes for his presidential campaigns.
Okay.
And with Uhuru behind him, we are not heading for a contest. I'm sorry if there's someone thinking about that. We are not headed for a contest. This is going to be a clean route for Raila Odinga. Ruto can go to court. It is his constitutional right to go to court. We accept that. We will follow the proceedings and hope that the court gives justice.
Why do you think that it is Ruto this time going to the court? Let me hear.
It is interesting that my brother is so convicted that it is Ruto who will be going to court. What I believe is that at the moment, yes, it is true, maybe recent opinion polls have shown that Raila is rising. But Ruto is not somebody to take for granted. He has campaigned for long.
Okay.
He has managed to come up with a political party within a very short period of time that has a membership that is now close to that of ODM.
Fake membership. Our minister there as a member. That's fake membership.
Now, assuming that we vote, whoever wins, my thinking is that Willie Mutunga's point comes from the background that whoever wins is likely to have challenges in parliament.
Okay.
Ruto has a good number of potential members of parliament and senate. And if Raila, for instance, Raila is declared the winner, he is likely to face a challenge in convincing parliament to support his policies. And maybe that will inform the move to have a handshake. The same to Ruto. In the event he wins, this as a new coalition is also something strong. We have seen Jubilee rebranding, we have ODM, we have OKA, probably Wiper, KANU, and the other parties. They are likely to have good numbers. With the new Political Parties Amendment Act that makes Azimio a party on its own, even if Ruto wins, he might also need support from across the board. That might likely inform the issue of handshake. So I will not rubbish what Mutunga says about the possibility of us seeing a handshake in 2022.
Because we are challenging the legitimacy of Ruto's membership in court. Personally, I'm a registered life member of ODM party. And I found my name on the list of UDA members, and it has already been challenged in court. There's a lot of, in fact, millions of Kenyans who are illegally registered on the roster of UDA membership. So Ruto is already breaking even the law before even give it to his hands. So,
but I think that is a challenge that is common to all political parties. What you can use to determine the growth of the party is the number of candidates who are presenting themselves for nominations. Look at the numbers. Those who are contesting for MCA positions, MP positions at the constituency level and at the Senate level. The numbers are almost equal to candidates in fact, UDA is doing better because it is spread across the country. ODM is now being relegated to Nyanza regions and maybe Nairobi, if I'm not wrong.
Cost massively.
Maybe cost, but UDA is spread, so you can't really rubbish it based on maybe the fake register that you are talking about, which is common in all political parties.
You guys have actually talked about the latest Radio Africa polls, and I would like us also to touch on it. So it actually shows that Raila's popularity has continued to surge, and according to the trends, though, we do not have any presidential contender who has attained a 50+1, which is a prerequisite for one to be the president of Kenya. Which therefore means that that a rerun is inevitable. Actually, we cannot avoid it. So you look at this, it means that Raila, this is the first time that actually is reaching Ruto and actually even overtaking him, if I can say so. What could have maybe necessitated this? Could it be that maybe the NDC that saw Uhuru Kenyatta endorse him, and of course other Azimio leaders? Could it be the Sagana 3 meeting? Could it be maybe Kalonzo joining hands, joining Azimio la Umoja? What could have necessitated this?
When water boils to a temperature of 100 degrees Celsius, it can only evaporate after that. So Ruto reached that point. He had been campaigning since their election. And Raila was the High Commissioner for Infrastructure. So he was just moving around Ethiopia. He was just touring. He was not campaigning. You see, he knew that Safari Bado, we will come on it. So suddenly, Tinga is back in the driving seat, and he revs up his Tinga of campaigns. And then now the polls are switching, and people are wondering what is happening. Secondly, I'm sorry to say this, but the fact that Kiambu County, one of the most populous counties in this country, has been William Ruto's stronghold for a long time, and has been used with their crowds to show that Ruto has solid support, not only in the capital, but also in the country. But now Uhuru Kenyatta, who is a native of that county, has started holding meetings to bring people together, members from his native community together to support Raila Odinga's presidency. These can be used to indicate why Raila is surging. Uhuru is also an incumbent president. People believe in power. We are a stable country. We believe in our system. We believe that if you go to school, you will have a better life. That is a sign of a stable country. So we believe in our systems. So those Kenyans, when they see the president is endorsing this man, they are businessmen who care about stability. So they know that with the state, there is stability. There's police, there's military, there's everything. So if the president is endorsing this man, he is the right guy. Ask me, Mr. The Star or Mr. Radio Africa. Raila Odinga is my president.
Let me ask you this. Is actually the race now becoming more predictable? I mean, what we have talked about, everything that we've been talking about, is now the race becoming even more predictable, these two horse race?
Eugene, first let me say, opinion polls in Kenya have always been skewed and manipulated to favor the candidate that the system prefers. You remember in 2017, Uhuru led most of the time, and Raila kept on complaining that these opinion polls are false, they are fabricated, they have been bribed. At one point, in fact, they confronted one of the lead researchers for, is it Innovate? So what we are seeing currently was going to happen. Raila is the preferred candidate for the government, for President Uhuru. And personally, I don't believe in these opinion polls. But the reality also is that it is true, Raila has gained from the endorsement, the public endorsement by the president. That was very important for him. And then now Kalonzo Musyoka and Oka joining him, I think also that one improves his ratings. And also the fact that he has started campaigning, the way he has said, he might not have been campaigning actively from 2018 up to maybe last year. He has started campaigning. So definitely his graph is going to rise. And I agree with you that going forward, I think this thing is going to go along that trend. We are going to approach August with maybe the two of them being at 50-50 or even 49-51, which is not something good for a country like Kenya, where now a few people, half of the voters are now starting to believe that it is going to be rigged. Then the other team is now happy that they are the ones who are being rigged in, so there is no problem with it. I think it is going to be dangerous this time.
We have, like you said, that we have had these opinion polls being contested.
Yes, every year.
Every time.
Yes.
Do you think that actually they mean something? Because for Raila Odinga to contest these opinion polls by that time, then it means that perhaps there is a way in which they shape the perception of people.
Yes.
And we believe politics or winning is about euphoria.
It's true.
People always want to be associated with winning. Does it maybe shape the way some set of people who are still undecided think or maybe will vote?
It's true. Opinion polls shape opinion of the people. There are so many Kenyans who are still not decided, not fully decided. I have friends who are not decided. But whenever they see these opinion polls, for instance, if tomorrow we are told Raila is now leaving Ruto with a gap of 10%, you are likely to see undecided voters go alongside that direction. And I agree that these opinion polls have always been manipulated to favor what the system wants. And this time it is Raila. And I'm certain that by July, whether the reality on the ground is different or not, these opinion polls are going to go in favor of Raila.
Okay, interesting. Let me get it from you, Pidi Jumasu.
Yes.
Actually, in the same opinion poll, we had high cost of living, unemployment, corruption, poor health care, increased crime, amongst many other things, amongst other issues that actually were being considered as issues that are affecting Kenyans. You look at each of these presidential contenders, they're promising to tackle these issues that are affecting Kenyans. You look at both of them.
Yes.
I want you to look at it objectively.
Yes.
You look at both of them and the issues that are affecting Kenya. Do you think that we can get a leader who has got the wherewithal to tackle these issues objectively? Or do you think that because it's a two-horse race, we do not have any other, maybe a person to pick from, and that is why we just have to pick from?
Well, first of all, these issues are issues that have always been there. So every candidate is going to talk about them. Raila is going to talk about them. Ruto is going to talk about them. Ruto is promising to tackle the issue of unemployment and high cost of living with his hustler narrative. Raila Odinga is bringing in his own theory of the 6,000 stipend. So everyone is promising to tackle the same problems. So as an objective Kenyan, how do I make my decision? This is how I make my decision. I look at the ideology of each and every person. What have you been standing for all along? Have you been a project of corruption? Have you been condoning corruption? Then how do you stop it if you've been condoning it? Have you been talking about the high cost of living? For example, Raila Odinga has been a perpetual advocate of hunger politics. The hunger sugar. He's been spreading that message for several years, irrespective of his recent handshake with Uhuru Kenyatta. So we already know that he has had a leftist ideology for a long time, a Mwananchi ideology. And if he's going to get power, it will be interesting to see how he's going to finally get the chance to fix these things he's been singing about. On the other hand, William Ruto has recently turned into, is a recent incomer into Unga politics. This hustler thing is a very new thing to him. He's not part of his ideology. He was part of the YK92. He's part of the system. He's part of the deep state. The people who, despite singing hustler, he has never been of the hustler side of politics for a very long time. In fact, the whole of his political life, except in 2007 when he was with Raila Odinga. So I'm also intrigued to find out how his recent conversion into the leftist politics is going to be implemented once he takes his government, which of course is highly unlikely. But if he would, it will be interesting to see.
Mr. Eric, you heard what he says. You look at these top presidential contenders. We have two. We have Raila and of course we have Ruto. It's quite defined as we have said earlier. All of them promising heavens to tackle the issues that are affecting Kenyans. Now you look at these, Ruto is in the inner sanctums of power. Let me say so. He's the second in command. He has been part of the ruling party. He is there. Is there anything that actually is doing that means that when he takes the power, then he will indeed do something? Raila Odinga, an opposition leader, yet enjoys a great working relationship with the president. He's saying that he's going to change these things, the unemployment, high cost of living. Do you think that there is there is anything that actually is doing right now that really shows that the working relationship that he has maintained with the president is using it for the advantage to maybe advance his ideology of helping Kenyans?
Well, I don't believe that this promises these politicians are giving us are genuine, because they are politicians and they are talking this now because of the elections. We know that Raila Odinga has been with the president from 2018, from March. And there are so many things he's promising that he could have used his opportunity with the president, with the handshake, with the majority in parliament and the Senate to push. So the same to William Ruto. I don't think he's very genuine about the hustler narrative. The way my brother said, he has all along been in government for so many years. And I don't think there is a miracle that he is going to do. About what he is doing, what he is currently, I think he doesn't have power. He was stripped of his powers from 2018 through was it in 2019, the executive order that gave the CS Matiang'i powers that used to belong to him. So I think he is just there because of the constitution that keeps his office. So, but we can still judge him based on what he did in 2013 to 2017, which I don't think it was also impressive. Politicians promise so much, but I don't think we should expect that much that they are promising. What I expect from them is stability. We want a stable economy. We want life to be easy. We don't want war. We want peace, and we want a stable environment for business, for education, and for health. Otherwise, all these other promises about empowering Mama Mboga, giving them kutanga sijui 50 billion ya boda boda, that is nonsense. I don't think it is even practicable to do that. Even the promise to give families 6,000 shillings every month. You know, we should not be promising Kenyans, we should not be promising to reward jobless Kenyans. We should be promising them jobs, because naturally we are created to work. We are supposed to work to earn. So if you tell Kenyans that you are going to give them 6,000 shillings because they are jobless, you are promoting laziness. I believe that these are promises, these are campaign promises.
It's quite interesting. This conversation is getting more interesting as we delve deeply into the issues that actually we are talking today. Well, actually, gentlemen, we're going for another short break, but we are coming right back. My question actually is the politics of Mtuwetu. Is it still there to stay in Kenya? We are now talking about a two-horse race between the Deputy President, William Ruto, and of course we have the opposition leader, Raila Odinga. Well, are we going to choose them? Are we going to elect one of them because they are maybe we like their ideology, we subscribe to their ideology, or is it because of them Mtuwetu, or is it because we do not love the other person? Well, these are some of the questions that we are going to tackle after the break, so stay tuned.
Call me the true ninja. I'd like to invite you on an amazing show that will be happening each and every Saturday from 8 p.m. to 8:30. I repeat, on Sunday, each and every Sunday from 1 p.m. So make sure you join us for the GBS Art Club for an amazing show. Because
nikicompare sisi na ethic, like time ilikuwa God's time. Ethic wali get together kwa group wakafanya ngoma ikablow. Sisi tulifanya ngoma like almost 2 albums two albums. Alafu ile ngoma yenye tulifanya tu tukasema acha tufanye tu post ndio ika hit. So pia inakuanga to God's time, but social media pia iko it's a big part of youth saizi. Like saizi ka uko social media sijui tunaweza patikanaje.
Sasa tunajua most people wana rely on social media.
Yeah.
Meaning kupromote business zetu, kama mimi kama makeup artist, hakuna mtu ataona kazi yangu kama makeup kama sijapost. Siwezi fanya tu kazi nikae nayo sasa niambiage watu mimi ni makeup artist kujeni wapake makeup. It doesn't work. I need to post. I need to engage my people. Lazima niwaonyeshe ma stories nikifanya makeup. Watu wajue at least nafanya hiyo kazi.
Like saizi kila mtu kwa room. Sijui kuna mtu mwenye budake ama mamake wana status ya. Hakuna.
Never have I ever. Mkorada?
Yeah.
Farted and blamed it on someone else.
Dear friends, why are we still talking about gender-based violence?
Why is this still an issue?
Why is it still one of the most widespread human rights violations?
We're still discriminating others based on their gender or sex.
We are the problem.
We are the physical abuse.
We are the sexual abuse.
We are the psychological abuse.
We still allow.
But not me.
But not me. But not me.
But not me.
But not me.
I want to be informed about gender-based violence.
I want to inspire others about gender-based violence.
I want to initiate change in my community.
I want to use my influence to stop gender-based violence.
I want to be counted as a hero for championing the stop against gender-based violence.
Let's not be silent. Speak out.
Join us in this journey as we talk about gender-based violence across our homes, from our homes to the rest of the world.
Can we count on you?
Can you say count me in?
Count me in.
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 CEO and founder of Sinan Medical Center Limited. We are located in Loisambu, Lumumba Drive. Our organization started 5 years ago, and our services include general consultation. We also have ultrasound screening services. We have comprehensive and affordable laboratory tests. We also have family planning services. We do dental services. We also do late night consultations and treatments. Anybody who has an emergency any time of the day or the night, you're free to call us and to visit one of our branches for treatment. Your privacy is our first priority. Thank you and welcome all.
Everywhere, GBS.
Welcome back to the Inside. Of course, this is where we discuss politics, and I'm joined by three gentlemen. My guest for the night, we have Mr. Eric, who is an advocate of the High Court. Of course, we also have PDG Masu, a well-abled Secretary General of Vijana Economic Front, and of course, joining us as well is Nelson Ngeno. Nelson Ngeno was not in the show, but now he's joining us. He's a leader, he is a Secretary General of My Leader Kenya. Also joining us, of course, on the Inside tonight. Mr. Ngeno, we've been actually looking at a lot of things, and I believe you've been following wherever you have been. Now the question is that in this two-horse race that we are talking about, it's quite evident that we have Ruto and Raila, the two-horse race. The presidential top contenders, we have Ruto and Raila. Among the two guys that we have, are we just electing them in 2022, this August? Are we just going to elect them because they are our people, the Mtuwetu? Do we still have the politics of Mtuwetu in Kenya? Or do you think that the people who are going to elect them, you think that the politics of 2022 is quite different, that we are going to elect people on ideology and not on intimidations or any other thing?
Well, thank you. And I think from your question, it's very crystal clear that Kenyans are very enlightened people, and they are aware of what they are doing. And when these politicians comes, they convince them using maybe their ideologies that they have, their slogans that they have, and the fact that we have the Mtuwetu, which we cannot run away from it. I think we still have people who don't vote based on this is our person. And that's why you can see from William Samoei Ruto's region, we still have people who don't vote him. Same case to Raila in his backyard. There are people who want to vote him. So this shows that these people are Kenyans vote based on the ideas that are on the book. And that's why we have manifestos from the Raila's wing and also from Ruto's wing. So we still believe in Kenyans who can make decisions based on the ideas rather than having the fact that this is our person. There is that notion whereby this person is our man or is our person or is our person. But the fact will remain, we still have to admit also that apart from this person being ours, he or she is a leader. So we cannot also deny that.
Thank you so much. Mr. Eric, let me get to ask you this before I come to you, PDG. Well, according to Ngeno, Kenyans are people who understand so well the decisions that are for them. We have the 2022 general elections, and we are going to elect our leaders. We have had Kenyans in elections since independence. We have had several elections, and still Kenyans cry of the same issues, and actually you've mentioned them. And here Nelson again says that Kenyans know who they want. Why do we still have these issues if we really know who we want? Where's the problem? Is it with the people that we elect, that when they get to the office they change their ideologies? Is it with the people that vote with their stomachs? Where is the problem, and how can we solve this issue?
Eugene, I believe that Kenyans are well informed. They can make decisions, political decisions. But I also believe that we are still influenced by other factors other than the ideologies that these leaders bring on the table. We are still a tribal nation. We can't refute that. We are still tribal, and we still elect leaders based on tribe. What this 2022 presidential election process has brought us is quite a different one, as I said the other time. In that we now have an arrangement that has somehow brought together communities that were warring. For instance, Kikuyus and Luos are now in one camp. Then we have Kalenjins trying to partner with others, so that maybe the tribal angle is not going to be very conspicuous this time round.
Okay.
But that does not mean that Kenyans are not free from the tribal bondage. We are still far, if I may say, because these two presidential contenders on the table are not the best, in my honest opinion. They are not the best Kenyans that can be presidents, Uhuru and Ruto and Raila. We have better candidates, but because of the scheme of things, because of I can't say nature, but because of how things got designed, we have the two of them as the leading presidential contenders. But they are not the best. They are the only options that Kenyans are looking. If Kenyans were well educated enough, they could still support a candidate like Ruben Kigame, who doesn't have a scandal, who is clean. But because Kenyans are still, I just want to say that we are still where we used to be.
Well, Eugene, yes. I would say this. We are political animals from birth. We must vote tribally. We must vote Mtuwetu. The only question that comes is, what is this Mtuwetu factor? So let me bring it from my professional angle as a professional communicator. When we talk about tribes, we talk about ill groups. Ill groups are ideological cocoons with identities. For example, we speak the same language. That is ethnicity. It's an ethnic tribe. There are different tribes. There's an ethnic angle to tribalism. So you say, I'm a Kalenjin, I'm a Luo, I'm a Kikuyu. So that is ethnic. And then there is ideological ones. For example, the one that Ruto is bringing in right now. Like, we are all poor, you see? All around us here, we are all poor. I'm poor, you're poor, all of us are poor. So let us vote each other. That is still tribalism. That is still tribalism. But politics does not give us a shield against that. Machiavelli says very clearly that the biggest assumption of democracy is that the voter is an intelligent man. No, we cannot be intelligent when we are voting. That is why the political process has to break down ideologies into simple slogans that can drive our political process. That is why Donald Trump appeals to the traditional white male American. And it's not the same case with his opponent. So this, the question for us is, how are we going to form our tribal units to embody our ideologies so that we step out of ethnicity and form new tribal groups that embody ideologies? The first person to bring that up was Oginga Odinga. And it was very difficult to sell. It was crushed by the states. And it was very necessary to have ethnic groups control politics. Raila Odinga tried it, Mwai Kibaki tried it, and now Ruto is trying it. But you notice one thing, that with every coming election, there is more people shifting their ideologies from ethnic tribalism to ideological tribalism. So that by the time we will be reaching 2070, we will be having an election whereby people don't consider the tribes when they're voting. And that is what we are moving at. Change is not a translocation. We are not translocating our country from here to here. We are not moving our bad roads from 20% infrastructure development to 90%. No, we are moving it from 20 to 30. We vote again from 30 to 40, from 40 to 60, and we move slowly. Change is a continuous process. So I think Kenyans are in the right direction. Ethnic tribalism is there. It is going to tone down as we continue moving, and we're heading in the right direction.
Mr. Ngeno, maybe if you can get in this conversation, because actually in 2022 we have to elect our leaders. But Kenyans really have to know, because they are still undecided people. In as much as we have those people who are voting based on tribes, we have those who are still undecided. What are these things that actually that we should look at critically when choosing a leader?
Okay, one, the most important thing that you need to consider is the track record of a leader and also the history, right? And that is the key thing that we all need to consider. And when I hear my friend says that the two presidential candidates whom we have are not they are the options that Kenyans has, and maybe they don't have they don't qualify, then I wonder where are we supposed to get other leaders who can walk the talk rather than talking. He just mentioned of Paul Kagame, which we may not dismiss him anyhowly, right? He's a person also who deserves the right to be elected. But where is he? Where is he? He should come out and say, Kenyans, I need you to elect me because this is what I have. You know, he cannot afford to be a presidential candidate, then hiding behind the guitars and maybe singing, you know. Here in leadership, we not only need leadership skills in you, but also how you can move the crowd, right? And at least move the masses. So my friend, I can say we still have leaders, you know. And the fact that maybe we have this tribe A and tribe B going for this going for this seat, we know those are the people that we have, and we must choose them, and they are leaders, and they have come from far, they have the track record, and they have the history, right? Now my friend here also say that we have tribal lane when it comes to voting, you know. Tribal lane maybe means, because maybe and I'm sorry to say, maybe if I'm a Luo, then I will elect Raila Amolo Odinga because I've seen his policies and ideologies working for me. Then you call me a tribalist because I've voted Raila. You know, I'm a Luo, yes? And Raila is a Luo, and he's vying for presidential seat. And I've seen his policies, and I elect him. Am I in trouble? Should I now say, no, this policy is correct, Raila is a Luo, and I'm a Luo, then I should not vote him because someone will call me tribal? No, we cannot run away from the fact that we have leaders from our tribe. So we have to elect them because they are not only our tribe, but also the leaders who are proven to be good to be elected. So that's why right now what we are looking at, what we are looking at is where are we going to get an opposition? Because everyone seems to be scared to be on the opposition side. That's why Raila is trying as much as possible to see himself being in the State House. William Samoei Ruto also is fighting. He feared to be on the opposition, same case to Raila. So where are we going to get an opposition? That's why we, as My Leader Kenya, we have come in and saying we must develop a watchdog system that will always be siding with the Mwananchi, right? Whereby we list the policies or the manifestos of this person from the day that he or she is campaigning to the time that he or she is winning or losing. Then we will revisit thereafter. And this platform is with all Kenyans, and that's why we also encourage people to have a system that is very independent, that is made by Kenyans and is owned by Kenyans. That's why we are going to look at these things to the latter. So once elected, we are going to revisit after some time.
Okay, so My Leader Kenya is an opposition party.
In quotes, it's a government watched. So whatever government is doing, whatever government is doing, we are going to look at it. You and I will come and say, what is My Leader Kenya has? What did so-and-so posted in My Leader Kenya platform and promised the Kenyans? And as he or she delivered, then we will see whether we are going to re-elect this person. That's why I say we are electing people basing on their track records and history. And the track record and history are in My Leader Kenya.
Okay. You talk about track records and history. We are talking about two top presidential contenders. You look at them, maybe in a jiffy, maybe in just maybe in a few words. Maybe can you describe between the two, who do you think, as according to track records and history, has done that which maybe Kenyans should consider him for the top job?
Okay, between the two guys who are actually going for this seat, I can say both. And largely, I can say maybe Raila has come from far and he has fought for so many wars in this world, and especially in Kenya. During the era of his the late father, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, during the late Jomo Kenyatta, and also the late Moi. And with that kind of transition whereby he has gone through, he has fought for so many wars and he has brought so many changes in Kenya. Now, the only thing that lacks from him is his sharpness and his dynamic. I think he doesn't consider dynamic in politics, and also is a man who hops from one place or one point to another, expecting to get goodies or something good from the new point where he's jumping, forgetting where he's come from. Because if he was a person who will always reflect where he has come from, then he will have learned a lot and consider changes going forward. Unlike Deputy President, who is a man of actions and also who is a very sharp man. So sometimes I see him as a person who will even see far, you know, because he calculates very fast and see, this thing may not favor me, and he's simply sharp. That's why with the YK92, he moved from that place, then he later joined war. Uhuru Kenyatta, when he was fighting for the president for the first time. With that time, maybe he was not favored as such. That's why he was in an opposition at that point. Then he went to ODM. Then when he went to ODM, he was mishandled at some point, despite the fact that he contributed a lot. Then he didn't wait for long, or we didn't wait for reward for being an ODM supporter. Then
so he's a loose cannon.
No, wait. No, when we say a loose cannon, he has never been out of the government as compared to maybe someone that you might have mentioned. That's what I'm trying to say here.
Let me just ask you this question. We're talking about, you said that in My Leader Kenya, you guys are looking at the track records and history.
No.
You said that Raila has got the history.
Yeah.
He's done, he's fought for the, he has been involved in many fights for the second liberation, changing the constitution, amongst many other issues that he has fought for.
Yes.
You say that Ruto is a schemer. That is what you say about Ruto. He's a schemer. He knows when and how to do things. That is all you say about Ruto.
Absolutely.
And you say, because of that, you believe he should become the president of Kenya because he's a schemer and he's intelligent.
Yeah, in a nutshell, I can say that. But remember, what I'm trying to say is now with this scheme and tactics, is outshining some of his competitors who might have had a chance to get the seat before him. So with these tactics, of which we don't have to say because you are the most schemer person, so just hold on fast, we have to live with this person. Raila also should also move with the dynamics of politics in Kenya and also learn from his past and apply the new move so that at least he can stand a chance. But as things probably we may not right now, as you've said, that maybe with the polls, of which I don't believe in those polls. You know, some polls are meant to scare people or even to some kinds. But I believe everyone has a good chance to lead Kenya, and we as Kenyans, we are here to hear their policies and maybe for the right person. But we as My Leader Kenya, we will be on their toes until they deliver what they promise. So we are an independent and we are going to follow up to the latter.
Okay. Actually, gentlemen, let us go for another short break, but of course we are coming back. This conversation is in 211 there is our SMS line. The insight, of course, at GBS TV Africa at Eugene Ochieng Kwach. We talk matters politics and we have talked about quite a lot of issues here. Thank you so much, gentlemen. So don't touch the dial.
What have I done? How did I become this person? I spent everything I had on people I can't even call my friends. Once all my money ran out, so did they. Nimejaza madeni sahi left, right and center after kukopa everyone in my life. That is why no one can pick any of my calls. And as if I did not have enough problems, ndao tala wanataka pesa zao. Rent, sijalipa. Chakula, sina. What is it that I can do? Where can I go? Hata nikisema nikutoroka, naeza enda wapi? My own parents disown me and none of my neighbors even want to set eyes on me. What else is left for me?
No more. because we got you. GBS TV Home Shopping is the market for you at home. Purchase, place your order, and we deliver that item to you. Oh yes, you heard me right, absolutely. All you need to do is watch the show, place your order, and we'll definitely deliver that item to your doorstep. GBS TV Home Shopping is a show that will be coming to you from Mondays to Saturdays at 12:30 p.m., 2:30 p.m., 6:30 p.m., and 10:30 p.m. And of course, I'll be your host, J to the T. You can call me JT. Zaya. And this is GBS TV Home Shopping.
And you can call me the true ninja. I'd like to invite you on an amazing show that will be happening each and every Saturday from 8 p.m. to 8:30. And repeat on Sunday, each and every Sunday from 1 p.m. So make sure you join us for the GBS Art Club for an amazing show. Because
GBS.
Welcome back to the Inside. The conversation continues. Mr. Piriji Masu.
Yes.
The elections are fast approaching.
Yes.
But of course, we understand that the youth, which is 75% of Kenya's population,
yes,
is a very consequential group in this election. They actually believe that they will determine a lot of things. What is there for the youths in this 2022 presidential contest? What is the stake of the youth?
The 2022 elections, first of all, is a revolution. Mm-hmm. I've said this and I'll say it again. Mm-hmm. This is a revolution, and it is a ballot revolution, not a bullet revolution. Mm-hmm. This can be solved by the number of youths offering themselves for elective positions. So youths are going to be in the ballot in their numbers, and don't count them out.
Okay.
Despite the fact that they don't have the requisite resources to match up against the political bigwigs, they are going to show up their numbers in the chambers of decision making, which is the most critical. We have stayed on the sidelines as agitators for too long, and that is why we appreciate the opportunity that every youth takes to try and be in a chamber of decision making, instead of shouting outside parliament buildings, which we have done for a very long time, by the way, Eugene. Unaenda pale bunge hapo nje siku wanapitisha bill fulani na maplacards mkipiga kelele. But do you have someone inside there who can actually cast a vote for that bill? That is the question that we've been asking ourselves, and that is why I support each and every youth who is offering themselves up for an elective position. And I ask all youths in the country to look at their fellow youth with a second eye. Wachana na wivu ile eti huyu jamaa anapanda mbele yangu kunishinda. Let us look at the bigger picture. Let us be objective. Not all of us are going to be politicians. Not all of us want to be billionaires. Some of us just want stable families, just a stable family, salary to take care of my children, make sure they go to good schools, which the government should be offering me. I don't need to be a billionaire to have a good life. So let us support the youth that are offering themselves for elective positions, and that is the only way we are going to make sure of our stake in this coming government and in these coming elections. Otherwise, if we stay on the sidelines, voting the other side, which I won't call names, voting the other side in terms of age-wise. We will continue having the cycle of decision-making that is so reserved, while we want the radical, fast-moving kind of change. And what is in there for youth will be determined by the youth themselves. As the majority, vote in your people.
Bunokili, what do you think about the 2022 presidential contest with the youth? How much consequential are the youth in this?
I agree with my brother that this time is momentous because of the number of youth we've seen participating in national election processes. We've seen youths take positions in political parties, and they are not taking small positions, they are taking big positions. I want to agree that we have a very good platform, we have a good opportunity this year as youth to participate and to shape the presidential elections and even the elections for all other seats. But I also have a problem with the youth that we've had previously. We've had youth in Parliament, National Assembly, and even in county assemblies. I can say here categorically that half of the youth, only half of them, have managed to impress fellow youth in the positions that they took up. For instance, look at the National Assembly. We had nominated senators at the Senate. At the National Assembly, we had nominated MPs, youth. We had elected MPs who are youth. But the number of youth who are notable, who did something that is notable, are countable. I can say that maybe Gideon Keter did something about a bill on employment amendment law. We've seen Babu Owino, he has been very vocal in Embakasi doing projects here and there. But the rest of the youth are not visible. For instance, we had a senator by the name Mercy Chebeni. She was 24 years. She was nominated by ODM. I have never heard her. I don't know what she's done from 2017 up to now. And it is disappointing that we are talking about youth taking spaces, but those who have been given opportunities are not making youth feel the importance of taking those positions. So, but we are still optimistic that we have a chance to elect youth leaders who have vision, who are capable of performing. We have had a number of good leaders who are youth. For instance, I can say that Rift Valley has led in this. See Nandi County, we had Sang as the governor, we had Joshua Kipto as the Senate Speaker, Samson Cherargei as the Senator. All of them were under 35. And I think they are still 34, 33, if I'm not wrong. See the work they have done. They have been felt at the National Assembly, at the Senate, and even in the county. I want to encourage youth to take up these positions, and when you get an opportunity, make it count. Let it not be said that youth cannot deliver, because that is what we are now hearing from the old candidates. They are telling us that we give you opportunities, but you play with them.
Mr. Nelson Gelo, how is actually My Leader Kenya contributing to ensure that the youth are actually involved in politics in a positive way, and not like we have seen before, where we have had youths only engaging or them being brought on board when we need to maybe get something, but through violence?
Okay, from us, My Leader Kenya, I think we are the only platform which we are restoring the hope in youths. And with My Leader Kenya, when it was launched by our CEO, Alphonse Juma, he had a vision to at least consider and incorporate youths in running political affairs, not only outside the government, but also inside the government. That's why, as My Leader Kenya, we have profiles, or we have listed aspirants, especially those who are youths, those who are aspiring to be our leaders, and those who are fighting in different positions. And we have given them a platform not only a platform, but also ways in which they can campaign digitally. And that's why we have a number of campaign services that we are giving them. You know, we are giving them at a very good, in goodwill. That's why, because we really want them to penetrate with the government. That's why when we have these young aspirants who are vying for different positions, they feel so much, they feel the sense of belonging to a certain platform and also to a certain people who are giving them this platform. And that's why, like my colleague have said here, that youth can still lead and they still have a good chance. What we're only hoping that when they get to that positions, they don't, we are praying for them not to take sides and also be managed to be controlled by the big political parties.
I'm being informed that actually our time is over, and so I'd just start with you, maybe giving us your final remarks on this conversation.
I can say for the discussion that we've had, actually we've managed, and from our end, I've had my colleagues having a very positive insight. They still have hope in youths, and that is the spirit that we need. If one youth did not manage to deliver, we cannot give up on another youth who also is hoping or is vying for a certain position. So I'm urging all the viewers that whenever you see a youth vying for any position, give him or her a chance. Maybe it was his or her first time and he had, or maybe she had a bad experience in leadership, and maybe given another chance, he can lead. And you visit our website, that is www.myleader.co.ke, and you will find to see all those aspirants who are vying, and you can interact with them and see their experiences and what they can give you. And thank you, and I wish you well, Wakili here, and also my good friend here.
Now that Wakili has been mentioned, you're next to give your...
Thank you very much, Eugene. What I will say is that as Kenyans, we have a good chance this time round to give politicians our priorities. We are the ones who are supposed to dictate the priorities in our regions. We should not allow politicians to dictate for us what should be done after elections. So let's use this opportunity, this campaign season, to dictate priorities depending on our areas of needs. And then let's remember that we get leaders that we deserve. So whoever we shall get after August 2022, those are leaders that we will be deserving. So let's be careful in this process. Let's look at them. Let's weigh them objectively and vote for real leaders. That is my parting shot.
Thank you so much. Mr. Pidij Masu, you next.
Well, I want to thank everyone who has been listening to us today. And on top of that, I want to speak to that youth who is sitting down, maybe thinking about where he'll get his next meal, and hoping that probably the government is going to do something about their condition and change it forever. What I want to tell you is this: that vote that you have, that is your only weapon with which you have an equal voice with the other person who has an island to himself. What I'm saying is this: don't sell your vote for 50, 100 or 200 shillings. That vote is a weapon. That vote is an atomic bomb. It can detonate change in this country that you will enjoy forever with your descendants. So take care of your vote, vote wisely, and effect change with your ballot paper. Thank you very much.
Effect change with your ballot papers. That is indeed an insightful conversation that we have had here on The Inside. Of course, you know that every Friday you get to meet us on this bench with various stakeholders who gives us insights. Through their lenses, we get to understand things which otherwise we will not have known and gotten because they come from different places and backgrounds. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for making time and finding time for this conversation. So grateful for that. And of course, for our viewers back at home, on behalf of GBS TV and everyone who has made this a success, we wish you a good night till next Friday.